A body weighing 2,225 Newton is being dragged along a rough horizontal plane by a force of P is equal to 445 Newton. If the coefficient of friction is 1/12 and the line of the pull makes an angle of 18 degrees above the horizontal, what are the velocities acquired from rest in the first 3.65 meters and in the first 5.50 meters? So we can use a formula for summation of forces. So summation of forces along y is equal to mass times acceleration along y. So the acceleration towards y axis is, we know that it is 0. So 0 to. So magiging cancel to, it will be 0. And from our problem, we can see that n plus p sine 18 is equal to the weight 2,225 Newton. Then, therefore, makukuha natin yung n. Lipat lang natin sa kabilang side itong p sine 18. Therefore, we have n is equal to 2,225. So, lipat sa kabila itong p sine 18 natin, which is minus p sine 18. Therefore, we have n is equal to 2,225 minus 445. Ito yung ating p sine 18. So, 445 sine 18 degrees. Then, solving, we can get that n is equal to 2,087.49 newtons. So, next tayo, summation of forces naman along x is equal to mass times acceleration of x. Okay, where summation of forces is equal to, so, where force P cosine theta, which is 18 degrees, minus, so yung coefficient of friction natin is 1/12. So we have 1/12 times yung ating nakuha kaninang force, which is n, which is 2,087.49. Then this equal to the mass. So we have the mass is equal to 2,225 over the acceleration or gravity, which is 9.81 times the acceleration along x-axis. Then, substitute na natin yung force dito. Force natin dito is 445. So, cosine theta natin is 18. Okay, 18 minus 1/12. Close natin sa parenthesis times 2,087.49. And then is equal to 2,225 over 9.81 times sub x. Okay? Then, to get our acceleration, so pwede nating divide both sides by this term. So we have 225 over 9.81. Divide din natin to by that 9.81. Therefore, canceling this, we can see that our acceleration is equal to, 445 cosine 18 minus 1 over 12 times 2087.49 all over 2225 over 9.81, which is equal to, acceleration is equal to, solving this in the calculator, you can get that so the acceleration is 1.1 meter per second square. So we have the acceleration along our a sub x. Then next natin, para makuha natin yung ating velocities. So for the velocity, meron tayong formula na v squared minus the initial velocity is equal to 2 times a times the distance. So alam naman natin na, so from rest, so we have no initial velocity, or which is equal to 0. So meron tayo ngayong formula na we have v is equal to ito muna, v squared is equal to 2as. Therefore, v is equal to the square root of 2 times acceleration, then times the distance. Okay, so para sa una nating velocities over velocity, so from rest in the first 3.65 meters. So this is the velocity for the 3.65 meter. So meron tayong formula na v is equal to square root of 2 times acceleration times the distance. So unang distance natin is 3.65. So we have v is equal to 2. So acceleration natin is 1.1 times the distance of 3.65 meters, which is equal to, velocity is equal to, so square root 2 times acceleration 1.1, then 3.65. You can get that the velocity is 2.83. So 2.83 meter per second. So let's label this as velocity 1. So dito sa 3.65, and then for the velocity 2, for the first 5.50 meter, we have v is equal to, again, 2 times acceleration times distance, which is equal to 2, again, 1.1, then times the distance of 5.50 or 5.5. You can get that the v2, v2 is v2. So v2 is equal to, so palitan lang natin yung kanina ng 5.50. You can get that the v2 is equal to 3.48 meter per second. Ito na ang ating final answer. v1 is equal to 2.83 meter per second, and then v2 is equal to 3.48 meter per second. Okay, determine the force P that will give a body an acceleration of 1.8 meter per second square. So the coefficient of kinetic friction is 0.20. So may given tayo na acceleration, which is 1.8 meter per second square. Then we have the weight, which is 1,500 Newton. Then meron tayong coefficient of kinetic friction, which is yung ating mu, which is 0.20. So dito sa problem na to, pwede tayo gumamit ng summation of forces. So summation of forces with respect to x is equal to 0. Then this is equal to, so summation of forces with respect to x is, so una natin is yung force natin, we have 4 over 5p, or yung ating so for respect to x, we have our opposite over hypotenuse times p is equal to the coefficient of friction, force, plus weight natin times acceleration over g. So this will be equal to equation 1. Then for summation of forces with respect to y, so we have n natin plus, so yung force natin we have 3 over 5 p, or the adjacent over the hypotenuse, Ottawa, which is equal to 1,500 Newton. So therefore we can see that n is equal to, so transpose lang natin yung itong 3 over 5p. So we have 1,500 minus 3 over 5p. So this will be our equation 2. So to solve for the force P, pwede nating substitute yung equation 2. Meron tayong n, substitute natin siya sa equation 1. So substitute equation 2 to equation 1. So we have equation 1 is equal to 4 over 5 p is equal to f sub r plus wa over g. So 4 over 5 p is equal to, so yung coefficient of kinetic friction natin is 0.20. By the way, ang f natin is equal to mu times n. So ito muna, plus wa over g. So therefore, is equal to 0.20 times yung n natin is equal to, so ito yung equation 2. So we have 1,500 minus 3 over 5 p. So plus wa over g, so yung weight natin is 1,500 times a natin acceleration is 1.8 meter per second square all over ating gravity, which is 9.81. So solving, so eto simplify muna natin. 4 over 5p is equal to, so simplifying 0.2 times 1.5 is 300, then minus, so 0.20 times negative 3 over 5p is equal to negative 3 over 25p. Plus, solve na natin to sa calculator. So 1.5 times 1.8 over 9.81, we can get that it is 275.23. So solving, continue lang natin. So 4 over 5p, so transpose na natin to sa kabila para mas madali. So we have 3 over 25p is equal to 300 plus 275.23. So we have, so pagsamahin natin itong term na to, so least common multiple is 25. So we have 25. So 25 divided with 5 is 5 times 4 is 20 plus 3. So we have 23 over 25p is equal to 575.23. So pinakamadaling gawin dito is divide natin both sides by 23 over 25. 23 over 25. So we can see that, or we can solve that force P is equal to 575.23 all over 23 over 25. So that is 625.25 newtons. Therefore, this is the final answer. Problem number 3. The block shown reaches a velocity of 12 meter per second in 30 meters starting from rest. So, compute the coefficient of kinetic friction between the block and the ground. Okay. So, to get the acceleration, so pwede tayong gumamit ng formula for velocities, which is v sub 2 squared minus v sub 1 squared is equal to 2 times acceleration times the distance. So, dito sa diagram, we have given v sub 2, which is 12. So, square minus v sub 1 is 0 is equal to 2. So, acceleration natin, yung hinahanap, then times the distance, 30 meters. So, for the acceleration, we can solve that acceleration is equal to, so 12 square all over 2 times, okay, so 2 times 30. Therefore, the acceleration is equal to 12 squared over 60 is 2.4 meter per second square. So, for our coefficient of kinetic friction, so let's get the friction force. To get that, we use the summation of force respect to x. So, we have summation of force respect to x is equal to, so we have mass times acceleration with respect to x. So, summation of force, we have P is equal to weight times acceleration over gravity plus the friction force. Okay, so friction force will be equal to, so P, dilipat lang natin yung WA over G. Therefore, so substitute natin yung ating mga values. We have P is, so given yung ating force P, which is 24 kilograms, 24 minus, so weight natin is 70 kilograms times acceleration natin, nakuha natin kanina is 2.4 all over the gravity, which is 9.81. Okay, so solving this, we have friction force is equal to, so 24 minus 70 times 2.4 all over 9.81. Okay, that friction force is equal to 6.87 Newton. Then, solving for the coefficient of kinetic friction, we know that friction force is equal to mu n. So, solving for the coefficient of kinetic friction, so ito, mu ang kailangan natin. So, we can solve that mu is equal to F over N. So, sabi dito sa ating diagram, which is N is equal to the weight. So, ang weight natin is 70 kg. So, we have mu is equal to friction force, which is 6.87 Newton all over 70 kg. So, we have our coefficient of kinetic friction is equal to 6.87 all over 70 kg is equal to 0.098. Okay. So, we have 0.098. So, this is the final answer. Okay, problem number 4. Two blocks A and B are released from rest on a 30 degrees inclined when they are 15 meters apart. Okay. The coefficient of friction under the upper block A is 0.20 and that under the lower block B is 0.40. So, compute the elapsed time until the block touch. Okay, so we have given tayo na coefficient of friction. For A, it is equal to 0.20, and then for B, we have 0.40. Okay. So, kunin natin ang acceleration. Okay, so una, free body diagram muna tayo. So, for inclined plane, okay, so meron tayong block A natin, and for weight, then normal force, nating theta dito, and then theta for this, yan. Okay, so summation of force muna tayo with respect to y-axis para sa ating block A. So we have normal force, then minus weight is equal to 0. Okay? So normal force is equal to, therefore weight, where weight is equal to mass times gravity. So we have N, normal force is equal to mass times the gravity, 9.81. Then we have sine 30 degrees. To 30 to. Okay, yung theta natin. Then we have normal force. Value natin for normal force is equal to 9.81 sine 30 is equal to 4.905 m, our mass. Then for friction force, for block A we have 0.20 ating coefficient of friction under the upper block A. Then we have m times 9.81 cosine 30, which is equal to, so solving, we have friction force will be equal to 1.70 m. Then for the acceleration, so acceleration natin is normal force minus friction force lang. So we have normal force minus friction force, 4.905 minus 1.70 m. So we have acceleration of, okay, solving, we have 3.205 m per second square. So this is for the block A. Then for block B naman, so free body diagram ulit tayo ng inclined plane. Okay, so same lang. For block B, we have our weight, then theta, then our normal force. Then for this axis, we have the theta here. Yun lang. So summation of force ulit tayo with respect to y-axis. Then we have, again, normal force is equal to weight, where weight is equal to mass times gravity. Therefore, we have our mass, and then times the gravity, 9.81. Then we have sine, for our theta we have 30, so sine 30 degrees. So we have normal force of, again, 4.905 m. Then for coefficient or friction force, sorry, we have for block B, we have so ang coefficient of friction natin is 0.40. So m times 9.81 mass times gravity, and then cosine 30 again. Therefore, our friction force is equal to, so solving for friction force, we can get that friction force is equal to 3.4 m. Okay? So again, for the acceleration, normal force minus friction force. So we have our normal force is equal to 4.905 minus 3.4, where the acceleration is equal to, 4.905 minus 3.4, we have 1.505 meter per second square. Okay. Okay, so to solve for time, for block A, or to solve for time, gamit tayo ng formula na merong time, syempre, para makuha natin yung time. Then at the same time, that merong distance of s, then acceleration. So, for that, meron tayong formula which is s is equal to 1/2 acceleration times time squared. Okay? So, for block A, meron tayong, for block A, we have s is equal to 1/2. So, meron tayong acceleration for block A na 3.205. So, 3.205, which is yung A natin, times t squared. Therefore, you can see that t squared, so to solve for time, we must get the t, this side, is equal to, so s all over, so 1/2 times 3.205 is 1.6025. So this will be our equation 1. Then for block B, so s natin, so s minus 15, kasi yung distance niya is 15, mas malayo sa A. Okay, is equal to, so same, 1/2 8. So ang natin, ang acceleration natin is 1.505 times t square. So therefore, our time is equal to s minus 15 all over, so 1.2 times 1.505 is 0.7525. So this will be our equation 2. Okay, so equate lang natin sila. Okay, so equate natin itong both equation natin. So we have, so let us say t squared is equal to t squared, since we are solving for only one time, so equal sila. So we have, so for block A, we have s is all over 1.6025, then equals to the block B, which is s minus 15 all over 0.7525. Okay, sorry. Then we have, so cross multiplication, we have s times 0.7525 is equal to, so s minus 15 times 1.6025. Then solving for s, so ito will be 0.7525s, which will be equal to 1.0625s minus, so 15, negative 15 times 1.6025 is equal to 24.0375. Okay, so we can get that. So transpose lang natin muna to. Ilipat lang natin yung itong 0.7525 dito, and then yung 24 sa other side. So we have 1.0625 So like terms minus 0.7525S is equal to 24.0375. So 1.6025 minus 0.7525 is equal to 0.85 S is equal to 24.0375. So solving for S, divide both sides by 0.85. So we can get that S is equal to, okay, solving for S, 24.0375 all over 0.85 is equal to 28.28. So meron tayong distance na 28.28 meters. So substitute lang natin tong value na to sa ating isa sa mga equation. So meron tayong equation from the equation 1, you have t squared is equal to s over 1.6025. So therefore t is equal to s all over 1.6025. Therefore rt is equal to square root of, so substitute lang natin to, 28.28. So pwede sa kahit anong equation, either equation 1 or equation 2. Pero pinili ko is equation 1, 1.6025. So therefore, solving for time, we can get the time is equal to 28.28 all over 1.6025 square root. We have 4.20. So this is in seconds, 4.20 seconds. So that is the time, elapsed time. Okay, for problem number 5, compute the acceleration of body B and the tension in the cord supporting body A. Okay. So, first na gagawin natin is, kunin muna natin yung mass ng ating block A and then our block B. Okay, so for the mass, okay, so makita naman natin yung ating mga given values dito sa ating diagram or in the given values. So we have for mass A, so meron tayong formula. So this is for block A. So for mass, so meron tayong formula na weight is equal to mass times gravity. So therefore, mass is equal to weight over gravity. So for mass A, we have the weight of 200 Newton over the gravity 9.81. So therefore, our mass A is equal to 20.39 kilograms. Then same for block B. So we have mass is equal to weight over gravity, which is the weight of block B is 300 Newton all over 9.81, which is the gravity. So for mass B, we have, okay, so mass B is equal to, so with calculator, we have 30.58 kilograms. The next step is solving for the acceleration. Okay, so for the acceleration, summation of forces with respect to y-axis tayo. Okay, so summation of force respect to y is equal to mass times acceleration. So dito, gamit tayo ng Sokotowa or for this triangle, okay, sa ating diagram, gamit tayo ng opposite over hypotenuse. So we have 3 over 5 yung ating gagamitin. Okay, so for summation of force, we have the negative weight of our block A plus yung weight ng ating block P, which is equal to MA. So we have our mass A and B times the acceleration. Okay, so negative 200, then positive 300 for the weights, times 3/5. So yung force natin is equal to, so mass A is 20.39, then plus for the mass B is 30.58 times the acceleration. So acceleration will be equal to, so negative 200 plus 300 times 3/5 all over 20.39 plus 30.58. Okay, so solving for acceleration is A 200 plus 300 times 3/5 all over 20.39 plus 30. We have negative 0.39 meter per second square. So nakuha natin yung acceleration. Okay, so now for the tension. Okay, so for the tension, so ito yung diagram natin. So for tension, we have, so T, tension, then our, yung sa block A natin, we have the weight A, which is 200. Then our acceleration is pababa dahil negative. So our acceleration is equal to 0.39 meter per second square. Okay, so equation natin is T minus, dahil pababa to, 200 is equal to MA. So we have T is equal to, so MA natin, so M is equal to negative or 20.39. Then for the acceleration is negative 0.39, or simply 200 minus 20.39 times the acceleration of 0.39. So we have our tension is equal to, so 200 minus 20.39 times 0.39 is equal to 192.05 Newton. So we have our tension.